Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mariana and I'm happy to have you here. Today is the 11th of January and I'm starting my second decade of starts. As I mentioned before, I plan to start new brands, new materials, new something that I haven't tried before in one combination or another. And today I'm gonna show you 5 more starts. The first one is Owl Forest, which is called irises. I haven't tried stitching Owl Forest patterns before. I've heard about them. I've seen many people stitch them. So far, I've been enjoying them from afar, and this is high time I want to start my own Owl Forest project. In case you are unfamiliar with this brand, they are producing all sorts of samplers, but I think that their samplers are quite different from what you may be used to. So I'm gonna show you the picture of what I want to stitch. So the pattern is going to be looking something like this. I mean, exactly like this, with the difference in color palette. One of the main differences between Owl Forest and other brands is that they are using their own variegated floss. Unfortunately, I do not have access to their original kits, so I ordered this. I ordered it from Dream Pattern compilation, I would say. It comes with navy blue canvas and a set of seven floss colors. I have this weird, I don't know, I am torn between doing two things. The first one is stitching by the kit. I just use the pattern, use the canvas, use these floss, and that's that. The other half of me wants to try it the original sort of way, which means I have my own stash of variegated floss. So I was thinking that maybe I should find similar colors and substitute them. But the thing is that when you are stitching with variegated floss, I mean, you may already know that, but since I'm not that familiar with the samplers, you have to cover the stitch as you proceed, because the way I do it, I start with the bottom half and then I go back and close it. And if you stitch with variegated floss, you have to start and finish, start and finish, start and finish. In my opinion, it slows down the process, although I haven't tried it, so I cannot say for sure. This pattern isn't the largest. I mean, it is actually quite small. It is like a size of a mill heel. It is 4.5K stitches. So I don't know. On the one hand, I'm a bit lazy and I don't want to kit this kit on my own, because I have so many designer patterns in my mind so far that I want to take some rest. So let's leave it a question hanging, whether I'm gonna proceed with this floss or whether I'm going to substitute it to variegated floss. Anyhow, this is going to be yet another start. on my list, and we'll see the progress in the next 10 days. It is insane how fast these 10 days have passed, and I'm back with some progress on my new start. Here comes the, let's call it irises from Owl Forest. It is a sampler, and at this point it looks like this. I'm also over 20% through this pattern, but as Mill Hill, it isn't quite large. It is just around 4,500 stitches. So this is the first time I've been stitching Owl Forest, and I couldn't distract myself from this pattern because it is actually amazing. Even though I don't have the original floss, I said that I might be substituting the floss that came with the kit to variegated floss, because I have quite a stash of those. Well, I'm gonna show you the colors. The rest is a bit tangled because this is work in process. I started looking up if I have enough of those variegated floss, and then I decided that I was maybe a bit too lazy to deal with all the reconstruction and rekitting, considering that I have too many pre-kitted on my own starts in this month, and I didn't want to go with all the fuss, and I decided to stick to what comes with the package, and I must say I'm completely satisfied. The only thing that the canvas, it looks a bit brighter on the screen, and in reality it is like dark navy blue. Yeah, it is something closer to this, because of the artificial light, it becomes a bit brighter, but in reality it is darker. One of the alterations that I had to do was to wash the canvas, because I started on the canvas as it was, and I wasn't satisfied with my stitches because they were like crooked and lopsided, and it almost seemed like the floss was too thick. I think it is the CXC floss, and it is quite plump. So I guess the flosses, the crosses weren't as even and as satisfactory for me. So I washed the canvas and dried it, ironed it, and then the process just flew. I hope that maybe one day I'm gonna have the opportunity to try the original kits from Owl Forest. But I applaud the designers, because it is so easy and so perfectly gorgeous looking. It's like maybe 3 more times I'm going to work on this piece and it's going to be a finish. It is amazing. I also think that you'll see it in the first half of the year, that's for sure. I hope the finish. So yeah, that's my progress on this January start. Another start on my list is going to be Mill Hill. It is simply Espresso by Mill Hill. I think that many of you have already started it, or at least have it in your collection, because I think it is one of the 3. There's also cappuccino and matcha or something, but I don't like the third one. Cappuccino I would like to get, but for some reason this was the first one and the only one from the series that I have in my collection. As a matter of fact, my relationship with Mill Hill is like on and off again. It's not that I don't like Mill Hills, I do like them, but whenever I start them, they seem to be lost in my whips for years. I don't know why. Maybe it's because they are so small. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they're simple. Cannot say what's the reason with that. Just as a regular Mill Hill, it comes with unsorted floss, so I'll have to find some organizer and hang the threads. This kit has quite a lot of beads. I think there are 9 colors of beads. From the first glance at the picture, at the preview, I can see the most like 4, maybe 5 colors. So in reality, it's gonna be a lot, I think it's gonna be a lot better than the preview. It comes with, I don't know, sand-colored paper canvas. But once again, my relationship with paper canvas isn't that great. So I am thinking about substituting it to plastic canvas. I have 2 colors, dark brown, and this one is more like coffee with milk, like cappuccino colored. It's not like much like the original canvas, but I think I'm going to change the darker plastic canvas so that the picture itself stands out on the canvas even more. Another innovative approach that I'm going to apply, stitching this piece. Usually when I'm working on Mill Hills, I do the floss first and then I attach the beads. This time we'll try to work simultaneously. Like when you look at the chart, it has like the beads and the stitches in the same chart. So, and usually the beads are stitched with the shared color, I mean the bordering color. So we'll see how that works. One more thing, 2 more things that I would like to say about this start. First of all, is that I know where it's gonna go after I finish it, because usually I stitch my projects just for the sake of stitching. I don't plan where I'm gonna hang it or who I'm gonna give it to. And this one is gonna go to my mom's because she's a, I don't know, espresso addict. So I think I'm going to finish frame it and give it to her, but I don't know when. Another thing is that my kit comes with a ceramics button. As far as I know, the brand stopped including ceramic buttons into their kits and they switched to plastic buttons, and I've heard many stitchers complain about that. It doesn't bother me much though. Honestly, considering the number of original kits that I've stitched from Mill Hill, I'm not a fan of those buttons usually. It seems like they were made and painted by kids. But maybe there's the unique charm to that. So we'll see how this espresso from Mill Hill will transform in 10 days. The next project that I progressed quite well, in my opinion, is espresso from Mill Hill. As I promised, as I said, I changed the canvas from paper canvas to plastic ones. So this is the result. I'm already 18% through the pattern, so 1/5 is done. I must say I'm quite satisfied with how it looks, but also I will admit that I encountered a couple of issues, or rather mistakes. Some of them were on my part. I mean, most of them were on my part. First of all, I don't use the paper chart. I primarily use the digital pattern. And in this pattern, as you can see, these are the beads. And under the beads comes the full stitch. And what I did, I followed this digital pattern and I covered the canvas with a full stitch, which is in this case in dark blue. And then I was kind of surprised why I don't have enough space left for the beading. Because as you can see, well, here it comes. First of all, I did the bead, the full stitch, and then I attached these matte orange beads. And all of like this, the starting part of this project is kind of lopsided because another instruction that I neglected, usually petite size beads advised to stitch in with full cross, like here, so that they are like vertical, because the regular size beads, they are done in half stitch. And here I decided to save some time and attach them in half stitch too, and I didn't like how it turned out. Then I spotted the mistake that I wasn't leaving enough of empty space for beading, and I corrected that mistake too. What I can say, the substitution in general is okay, because this is more or less 14 count Ada-ish, the same size as the paper canvas, but still the entry points, they are a bit smaller than in regular canvas, so it takes some pressure to put the needle, especially considering the fact that the needle in Mill Hills comes a large size, so I had to change that too, because at first I couldn't figure out what was wrong, because I put so much pressure into making crosses. And then I figured that probably the size of the needle, and I chose a little bit too small, which wasn't good enough because the thread started to tangle. So I chose probably maybe 28th needle count size. And then the process went much better. So as I said, almost 1/5 through. I have a little over 3,500 stitches before I finish this one. So I think it's gonna be soon to see finished, because I have a new rotation that I'm going to dive into deeper when I'm gonna be filming my February decades, because it is a little different from the format I am suggesting right now with the starts. So yeah, I'm gonna show it once more closer. I know it doesn't look much, but it is already 18%. And all in all, I'm generally satisfied with how this kit is going to turn out. Can you guess my next start by the color palette? I'll give you 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know. For me, this palette associates with tangerines, and that's exactly what I'm going to be stitching. This is the first time I'm gonna try the works of famous Veronique Enginger. Sorry for my French. French isn't one of the languages that I'm speaking well. It is Les Agrumes. I don't know, maybe I made another mistake here. I've been mesmerized with this, with her botanic collection, just as much as the rest of the cross-stitching world. And I have so many patterns that it is difficult to choose which one I would like to start. But since it is winter outside and the winter is the season of tangerines, so I decided to start with this one. As you can see, if it is stylized in this way, it means that I pre-kitted it myself, and I chose I think it's the equivalent of 25th count even wheel in simple white color. I've been thinking a lot about the start, and I wish that I had some sparkly canvas, but I don't, and I'm not gonna be ordering any anytime soon, so I'll just start it on white. We'll see how it comes out. I think that it doesn't matter. Maybe the additional bling it may potentially ruin the pattern, but I don't know. I think that these colors are perfect for winter time. As you can see, I repurposed my old organizers from the kits that I already finished, because I have so many projects that it would be insane to get that amount of organizers. What else? I think this project it's not gonna be large, just only 10,000 stitches, including back stitch, half stitch, and French knots. So, well, definitely I'm not gonna finish it in 10 days, but maybe I'll reach somewhere around 10%. Well, one more thing, since it is that Chinese even wheel that I have, I ironed it and it kind of seems softer than the one that I used for my how's it called, Christmas Melody, but I think I'm still going to wash it before I start stitching on it, because to avoid this making the same mistakes and getting annoyed in the beginning of the process. The tangerines from Veronique and Enginger. Sorry once again if I pronounce her name incorrectly. This is also the first time of trying the botanic collection. I must say that I'm also pretty satisfied with everything, with the process, with the outcome. It is just stunning. I haven't done 1/5 like I did with the previous patterns, but I'm already 10% through this kit, and I have a little over 9,000 stitches left. This includes half stitch and back stitch and French knots. I started from the middle because I didn't want to like grid the canvas, and when I talk about one of my other starts, you'll understand why I want to stitch something as vibrant and bright as these tangerines. There's nothing much I can say about this start except for it is exceptionally simple, maybe even to the point of being quite boring. I don't like confetti filled projects and processes. I enjoy stitching like large scales of stitches, but in this case it's like one color links to another. I don't know. I have some mixed feelings. Maybe it wasn't the best choice for me. Actually, what my husband said, he's the main judge and the executioner of my cross-stitching hobby. He said that at this time my starts are quite boring. I agree to disagree, but it is up to you to judge whether you agree with him or not. Let me know in the comments what do you think about my choice of starts in this decade. So yeah, 10% through, a little over 9,000 to go over, and we'll see. I finish probably this year. I'm quite confident that I'm going to finish it this year, but I don't promise. One more start in this decade. It's gonna be another pattern and another brand that I've heard much about, but I've never tried it before. It is Heritage. It is John Clayton's Famous Ladies, and I'm going to start with Annabelle. Of course, I would love to start with Catherine, but unfortunately I don't have the pattern yet. So this is the second best that I like. There's also, I think, Elizabeth and one more lady, but I have the Elizabeth pattern, but I like it a bit, but not to the point that I would like to start my introduction into John Clayton's art. As you can see, the palette is quite pale. I would say dusty colored. I don't know how it's gonna stitch, considering that I don't really like stitching with pale and light colors. But maybe because of the mixture of different techniques and those elongated stitches that John Clayton's works are famous for. It's gonna be interesting. Once again, I'm using the same 25th-ish count Chinese even weave. It's completely wide. I think it is the circle is a full coverage one, so I could have used Ada, but because of those elongated stitches, and I think no, it doesn't have much of backstitch, but those elongated stitches, it's gonna stitch a lot better on even weave. Surely I will start from the center because there's no way I would be able to count from either side the canvas and started correctly, so that the circle isn't lopsided. One more thing about being lopsided, I really hope that this even weave is actually even, because I know that some canvas, they are like more elongated or like stretched, and then the circles become oval and like ellipses or something like that. Other than that, I don't have any concerns, and I cannot say much about this because I've never stitched it before, and I think that all the rash with the Clayton's ladies, it started like the last year in 2025, and I've started seeing a lot of people stitching those patterns. So I don't know, maybe they are that new, because I haven't checked as to when they were published. I just know that the newest one came out like a couple months ago. So yeah, this is it. We'll see how this blank canvas will change in this decade. How do I feel about my recent introduction to the world of John Clayton's world? I'm a bit torn because I do like the outcome, but I'm a little bit bored with the process. And so this is Annabelle from Heritage, or from John Clayton. I stitched it on 27th count. As usual, I started from the middle, but I didn't want it to go to her face because I was kind of concerned how it's gonna turn out, because I'm not using DMC floss, but a mixture of, I don't know, CXC and all the other equivalents. So I wanted to go to her face to see how it comes out. Well, you see, that's the point with, as far as I figured, that's the point with John Clayton. It's like when you zoom in on the work, it looks, oh, forgive me, but I think it looks horrendous. It doesn't look good. It looks too dark, too spotty and stuff. But the moment you set it aside, the moment you zoom out, you do see the facial features, all the shadings and all the texture that should be there. Yeah, and by the way, it isn't as see-through in the real life as it is on the canvas. On the camera, it is more covered, fully covered. So yeah, I've been trying different approaches to this kit because, as I said, I started with her face, and the moment I finished her face, I started doing her hairdo, and then I had to stop because I thought if I'm gonna finish her head, might be too reluctant to continue with the rest, because like her chest line and the embroidery that she holds in her hands are the most interesting pieces of this pattern. As for the rest, the background, the view in the window, the doors, the walls on the background, and even the bottom of her dress aren't as interesting to stitch. They are easy. They're exceptionally easy because you just take one long thread and then you just continue 100 flosses without stopping, and it's amazing in terms of progress. But it is a bit, I don't know, for me personally, I need some more dynamics to, like in her face there was a fair share of the dynamics. Also, this is the first time, I guess, I've been making those elongated stitches. There's nothing difficult about them. I know that some people are afraid of them, but they are nothing too difficult. You just have to count correctly, and you have to use even view, because I don't know how you would do that on Ada. I mean, it is doable probably, but I think it wouldn't be the most pleasant process of all. So in this case, I'm not sure. I do like the new kit, the Catherine, but I don't know if this series stops with Annabelle, or maybe it continues to Catherine, and maybe there's gonna be Elizabeth. I don't know. And I can say that it probably won't be one of the finishes of this year. It isn't large compared to all the other full coverage works that I have. It is only, I mean, it is 17,000 stitches, so which is like mid-size kit, and I'm almost 9% through. This pattern I dedicated 4 days. It wasn't like the whole day of stitching. Sometimes I did like 100 stitches. I mean, a little over 100. Sometimes I did like almost 400, and the first day was like over 700. I like the outcome. I kind of like the process, but I wouldn't say it is my favorite so far. So please forgive me, all the fans of John Clayton's. It is just my subjective opinion, so no hard feelings here. I'm gonna finish her, that's for sure. But as for the continuation, not that sure. As you can see, in this decade, the pre-kitted, myself pre-kitted starts are prevailing. I don't have many actual kits in this decade. So I decided that aside from the mill heel, I must add something else, and I stopped my choice on RTOs. I don't have, it is an original pattern, but I don't have the actual name of it because I left, for some reason I left the preview when I was transporting my kids here. I've never stitched RTOs before. This is how the design is going to look. I know it is more relatable to autumn, but yet again I think that these are tangerines and these are dried flowers, and back in Ukraine we used, I don't know how they are named in English, we use these dried flowers to decorate our houses during the autumn and winter time. So in my link of associative factors, it fits into this seasonal marathon pretty well. So this is what the kit consists of. It comes with, I think it's Swigert 14 count Ada. It comes with a John James needle. Maybe it's probably 26 or maybe 28. I'm not really good. And it comes with 4 palettes. They are like attached in the middle, and well, why not? I'll have to disattach them maybe later. The palette is quite vibrant, so it has 4 palettes, and so it is 45 plus 7, 52 colors. Quite a colorful piece. That's considering that there are also a few blends. I have peeked into the chart already, and this is how many blends. 13 blends. And look at the number of back stitches. 12 types of back stitch. I hope it is all counted. I don't know, because otherwise I might regret starting it. I've seen ladies stitching a lot of RTOs kits before, and I know that they are complicated. How? Complicated because of the organization. As I showed you, these palettes, there are 4 palettes, and each of them has 15 sections. So I think it is very easy to make a mistake when you're picking the color for your picking the floss for your next stitch. You have to be very careful because, yes, each palette is numerated. They have like 1, 2, 3, and 4. But when you are like, I don't know, maybe stitching tired or maybe a bit distracted, it is so easy. For instance, I have to stitch with this 11 blue, but then I choose 11 green instead of blue, and then you'll have to forget. So I disattached these, and so you can see the numerous colors that are going to be involved in this stitch. In this pattern. I think it's gonna be fun. Also, I would like to point out that there is a loop at the end of the floss, so it is secured with the loop. It means that actually it isn't that short, because I know that many cross stitchers do not like short strands and maybe I belong to that category too, but it depends on the type of pattern, because sometimes if you have a confetti to stitch, so the shorter floss, the shorter length would be better. But if you have large coverage, let's see which one is this. Let's pick one color. I think there are some logical groups of stitches, so I don't think that it's gonna be difficult for me. Look, the blue. There are a lot of blue colors. Other than that, in just back stitch and cross stitch, 25,000 stitches. So it isn't the largest of patterns I would have in my whips. So I hope this time, I think I'm not gonna be starting from the middle. I'm going to spend some time gridding, and I'm going to start from my favorite right bottom corner, and I'll show you, who knows, maybe like at least 5% progress in the next time I tune in. One of the fewly represented projects in my second decade of January is the original kit from RTO, which is called Orange Physalis or Orange Winter Cherry. I don't know which which name is used in wherever you live, but so I give you both names. Like winter cherry are those plants that have inside edible and sometimes non-edible kind of a fruit, or maybe it's a vegetable. It has something, it tastes like something in between tomatoes and strawberries, in my recollection, because I tried them way back in my childhood. Finally, I got the chance to start from my favorite right bottom corner. You might ask, what are you looking at? Well, that's the thing with large projects. You cannot, not all of them, maybe, I'm pretty sure that there is a fair share of projects that have like something dynamic, something going on from the bottom. But in this case, it isn't the case. As you can see, it is like maybe it's a tablecloth that I started from. But the thing is that I do like this style of painting. I don't know if it's impressionism. I'm really bad. I'm not an artist, so I cannot name the style precisely. It's just that I like it. I like those kind of, when you look at the picture, you can actually make out each object depicted in the picture. But at the same time, it is like so otherworldly and more vibrant than it would have been in real life. I can't wait to move to this. I don't know, maybe it's a vase or a decanter. I don't know. I still have mixed feelings about this kit, because initially when I ordered it, I thought it was an autumn piece because of the amount of orange and reds in the picture. But now, the more I look at it, and I actually find, I discovered recently that Physalis is winter cherry, and suddenly everything clicked and started to make sense, because at first I thought it was like orange plums or maybe apricots, but then why do apricots mix with Physalis? Because where I lived in Ukraine, it blooms in the late autumn and it dries out into the winter, so it makes sense that it is put into the vase, and these are not orange plums but tangerines, so it is perfectly winter style project. I know not many people would follow this logic of mine, but for me it clicked and I pretty liked it. As I showed you in the beginning, before I started, I didn't bring the floss with me, but I hope you still remember, because for me it's been 10 days, for you maybe a second or so. There are 4 different organizers with the same numbers on them, and it isn't as confusing because actually the chart is understandable. You cannot mix those symbols on purpose. It is only time consuming because you have to leaf through all the 4 organizers before you find the one that you need. It's like it might be number 9 on the palette number 3 and number 8 on the palette number 1, and you have to make a blend. By the way, there are a few blends. I'm pretty sure, yeah, I finished with one. It is like very light blue and mid blue. I'm gonna show you my stitches up close so that you can see the blends I'm talking about. Even here, it may seem like it is either white color or maybe light blue, but it is a mixture of light blue. My camera doesn't want to focus. It is a mixture of light blue and white. And here are greens and various blues. All in all, I enjoyed stitching this kit probably the most. I'm gonna be honest with you, probably the most out of my yeah, they share the first place with the owl forests irises. How much did I stitch on? Oh, I don't have the progress on my tablet because I was stitching from my phone. It is around maybe 5% because I've done something around 1,000 stitches yesterday. I mean, it was in one night sitting. We were watching a series with my husband, and I was just stitching, and it just came out pretty quickly and pretty nice. Also, the mixture of Twigert canvas and DMC floss is like a match made in heaven. So I should give the brand the credit for compiling the kit with such high quality products. What else? I'm not gonna promise that I am going to finish this kit this year. Actually, I highly doubt it because it is quite large. It is 25,000 stitches, and I have different plans for how the 2026 is going to go in terms of finishes and ongoing processes. As I said, I'm going to dive into more detail in the beginning of February. So yeah, this is how my second decade of January went. Tell me, what do you think about those starts? I think it was pretty colorful, and I discovered a lot of new brands and designers and approaches to creation of designs. So I am pretty much satisfied with how it went, but I will be waiting for your opinions, objective and probably subjective, in the comments below. By the way, if you are interested in any of the kits, projects, designs, patterns that are shown in this video. I added all the I added all the links to the shopping places that I could find in the description below the video, so you may follow them and find the design that appeals to you if you don't have it already in your collection. Other than that, it's gonna be it for me today, so please like it and subscribe, and we're gonna see each other soon in my next decade, the third and final decade of January. Until then, stay safe. Bye.